All right, could you tell me why you're here today protesting AIPAC?
Well, with the help of the Almighty, He should bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may convey it to the world who's going to see your show. With God's help, AIPAC is a representative of Zionism in the state of Israel. And they use our symbols. They call it the Jewish state. They use the Star of David. And basically, they've hijacked our identity, the Jewish identity, to perpetrate a terrible rebellion against God, a crime. The concept of creating a land, a homeland, a so-called Jewish homeland, is totally contradictory to what the Torah tells a Jew to do. We are forbidden to create a homeland. Since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago, we were expressly told by God, by King Solomon in a prophecy, we are not to create 1 inch of Jewish sovereignty. That is the concept of exile. What we do hope and pray for is one day we believe God will bring peace to the world, will reveal His glory, all humanity will join together, then we will go up and God will create a temple. It will be the will of all humanity. Till that day comes, we have never for 2,000 years attempted to create a Jewish homeland. Till Zionism came, a mere 100-odd years ago, Theodor Herzl, Ben Gurion, Weizmann, and Netanyahu, the same, all one ilk, non-religious people who are rebelling against God, and they want to transform Judaism, the religion, subservience to God, into a base materialism. We're a proud nation. We're going to have a piece of land, an Olympic team. We're going to have a strong army at whatever cost. How many human lives have to die for that? Judaism says that you're not allowed to steal, you're not allowed to kill. This Zionist dream is built by sacrificing untold amount of lives on the altar of Zionism to create their state. And they ignore all of this. Why? Because they are truly not subservient to God, and they have their goal, what they're trying to accomplish, and whatever crosses its path has to go. So we as Jewish people want the world to know Judaism in its essence is a total diametric opposite of Zionism. It cannot and will never accept the existence of the state of Israel in any manner. It will not accept it whether it even 1 inch of a state, whether it affects another people. In other words, if it would have been in an uninhabited land or the Palestinian people will give it to us, Jews will never accept it because we are not to have a state. Secondly, we are not to kill or steal, so it just gets compounded that Zionism in the state of Israel is a criminal existence, and we do not accept it. Therefore, if you will go to any part of the world, wherever there's a very religious Jewish community, you will find invariably the more religious, the more anti-Zionist. If you go to Brooklyn, you go to Williamsburg, right across from Manhattan, the most religious Jewish community, they're all anti-Zionists. There's not one Israeli flag. If you go to Jerusalem, Meah Shearim, the more the religious, they're anti-Zionist. If you go to England, in Stamford Hills, you'll find this is a fact because it simply cannot coexist. This Zionism cannot coexist with being a truly religious Jew, or one who serves God, because it is so clear to us that we are a religion and not a nationalism. And it is clear to us that we are forbidden to kill. There were 3 oaths given to us by the destruction of the temple, and it's a prophecy of King Solomon. 1, that we are forbidden to rebel against any nation. We have to be loyal citizens in every country we reside in. Secondly, we are not to attempt to return en masse in large numbers to the Holy Land. That's already 2,000 years. Till the day, as I say, ultimately when God will make a metaphysical change, reveal His glory, where all humanity will serve Him in harmony. That will happen through God without any human intervention. It will be the will of all people. But to go and take a gun against the people and demand that the land be given to us, this is clearly not what Jews yearn and pray for, and it is forbidden for us. And thirdly, we're not to make any attempts to end exile. So these 3 oaths of God, add with the fact that Zionism in its essence has nothing to do with religion, causes us as a religious people to stand up and shout out to the world that we have have been abused. We have been falsely portrayed. The Jewish people's identity has been stolen and smeared in the ground, and we cry for the suffering of the Palestinian people that is being done in our name. We hurt, we are frustrated and humiliated because these people, the Palestinian people, lived together with us for hundreds and hundreds of years. They served as our best friends. They provided a safe haven, Muslim and Arab countries, for hundreds of years by the Crusades, by the Inquisition. The people of the Arab and Muslim land were always gracious hosts for the Jews. There were some bumps in the road, but there was never this Holocaust over there. And Jews never had a human rights group or a United Nations protection. Yet we flourished in these lands. And God says we should show our gratitude for good done to us. And yet, these people, these countries are being vilified by the Zionists with the claim that they are anti-Semites, that they hate the Jews. There could be nothing more despicable than that. It's just something that we can't swallow that, and it hurts us so much. The death of these people, and compounded because it's being done in our name. So we pray to God to bring a speedy and total dismantlement of this criminal existence called the State of Israel. It will happen because the Torah says if you rebel against God, it will not be successful. And you see that it's an endless river of bloodshed since its beginning. It will end. We only pray to God that it should happen soon without any more suffering. Whether it is Palestinian, Arab, Jew, it should just stop soon. It will, we hope, and we pray. Then we will be able to embrace our neighbors and be able to repay the good done to us for these hundreds of years and give them back their dignity and show our love and simply repay what's coming to them.
I just read the other day that a little over 60% of the Jewish faith does not live in Israel. Do you think it has anything to do with the government's link to Zionism?
The government's being, which government?
The Israeli, sorry.
Yeah, the Israeli government. Well, Judaism is in no manner attached with this issue of living in the Holy Land. There is there was a time that we had to live in the Holy Land, but since the destruction,
crazy. Don't pay attention.
Since the destruction of the temple, we were told by God, as I've mentioned earlier, that we are not to return en masse to the Holy Land, and we've had great rabbis and communities all over the world. Yes, it is a very, many old rabbis, when they retired, they wanted to live off their lives in the Holy Land. And there was this concept, but never with an aspiring to have a nationalism. It was simply to live as individuals under whoever was ruling, whether it was the Turkish, the Ottoman Republic, was the British or the Ottoman Empire, or whoever it was never with this, as I say, to aspire for nationalism. So, do you find that the Jewish communities, on the contrary, they settled in other lands and they were buried in those lands, in their cemeteries, and they flourished and were born and buried and lived their lives there.
I thank you very much. You explained a lot. A lot of people are unaware of what the Israeli-Palestinian situation is, and they think that people out here protesting against AIPAC or even Israeli settlements, or they were automatically named Nazis. I was trolled on Twitter the other day saying that we're all Nazis here, and I'm just, obviously we're not. So thank you very much for explaining that.
That's
very
part
helpful.
of the ploy of Zionism, that they intimidate and attack people, that the people become fearful to speak up because they're right away they'll be labeled for their whole lives as anti-Semitic. That's part of the deplorable parts of Zionism, because these people who are friends of Jews and who are humanitarians and are totally with the warmest, with the greatest warmth and goodness, and yet they're attacked and belittled and vilified as being anti-Semitic, and it's a pure evil, of Zionism. We call it the evil of the Satan, because there's no other reason why that it should drive these people, because it's not their closeness to God, and they should simply drop their the Jewish identity. I mean, we're not looking at they should be good Jews, but they should stop using the Jewish identity for what they do. If they want to live the life of Riley, they don't want to keep the Torah, then just drop our identity and stop using it, and just live their freestyle life. But they're not satisfied with that. Something's driving them to take this Jewish identity and abuse it to oppress the people and ignore the words of the rabbis, of the prophets, of the whole Torah, and of the Jews who are true to Judaism around the world, the really religious communities who keep on saying to them, you are going against the words of God and you are rebelling against God, and God doesn't countenance all of this.
Thank you.